Hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. My last Friday chat of this year. As usual, if you're there, do say hello in the comments so that I know I'm not talking to myself, which I do a lot and which is very beneficial because I usually give myself the right answers. Good morning, Helen. It's December. It's nearly that time of the year. Obviously, Christmas sweater time. Oh, this one has got bells on, which is actually makes me jump quite a lot. And Eric the dog is quite impressed with it. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Lizzie. Good morning, Susie. Good morning, Nettie. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Michelle from California. Wow. You are up very late or very early, whatever way you look at it. Good morning, Eva. Good morning, Julia. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Kay. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Kerry. Lots of lovely people. Good morning, Dawn. Am I fuzzy or is it my eyes? I'm having all sorts. I'm fuzzy. I'm having all sorts of webcam issues at the moment. No, it is on high definition. So that is... Yeah, I am having all sorts of webcam problems at the moment, so bear with me. Good morning, Jane. I am pixelated. Okay. Good morning, Nettie. Good morning, Christine. 1 a.m. there, Michelle. Good on you. Good morning, Abby. Oh, pixelated's not fun, is it? Let me see if I can do something about that. I don't know what I could do about it. But I'm using an old webcam, Kay, because the new expensive webcam kept freezing and logging me out. So that's the one I'm using today.
Which was fine the other day.
Which was fine the other day, yeah. Right, let's see what we can do here. Oh, it is very pixelated, isn't it? See, I'm looking at myself on my phone now, which is very bizarre. Watching yourself moving slower. Very pixelated. Right, okay, let's see what we can do here. Let's see if I can switch. If I can... Sue had her eyes tested yesterday, thought it was your glasses playing up. No, it's not your glasses. Let me see if I can flip over to the other webcam. There we go. How is that one? Is that one better? Can you all see me? I'm not going to touch anything because this is the webcam that if you even jog the desk slightly, it cuts out. So hopefully, is it better? Is that better? No, then it's not my webcam then.
Are you plugged in?
Yep, I'm straight into the Ethernet. It's not me then. That's two different webcams. You might have to put up with a pixelated me this morning. Can you all hear me all right though? Yeah, I don't know about Larry. That's two different webcams. So I'm not sure what I can do about that really. I'm hoping that it's a Facebook thing and it might sort itself out. Oh, problems with webcams in the last couple of weeks have been unbelievable. Okay, sometimes the weather can affect the signal. Yeah, I am plugged straight into the internet as well. It's not even by Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I am a bit closer, Jane. This webcam zooms in a bit. As long as you can hear me. As long as you can hear me, that's all right. You know, I needn't have put makeup on, need I, if I'm all pixelated. But I have got a jingly Christmas sweater on, so I'm hoping that it will clear up. Let's hope it clears up. Lizzie suspects it's the weather. Yeah, it could be. It's pretty miserable out there. But yes, I am on the internet, so directly into the internet. So who knows what it is? Two different webcams and straight into the internet. Can't think of anything else really. As long as you can hear me, because you know, waffling. Okay, judging from your responses to my comments, we have a long lag. Oh no, I've got lots of comments coming up, Kate. It might be that I just haven't caught up with them yet. Well, we'll go with it and see what happens. Typical, huh? Last one before Christmas, last one this year. Hey ho. Good morning, Crystal. I'm going to do... Yeah, Maria, no wonder with all that jingling brought the fae in. It could well be. You never know, you never know. Nettie loves my jumper, thank you. Yeah, it is Rudolph. It is Rudolph. I'm surprised it's not annoying Eric, actually. This little bundle of blankets here is Eric, the dachshund, fast asleep. Yeah, I can't improve the pixelation, I'm afraid. That's 2 webcams now. We'll see how we go. Lizzie, the only other thing I thought, have you moved from where you were before? My desk is moved round, but I am still plugged into all the same old stuff. Yeah, my desk's moved round. Just to be confusing, really. Good morning, Eve. Good morning, Diane. I can't remember who I've said good morning to now. Jane says, don't worry, once we've got through the festive season, everything will look pixelated. Depends how much mead you drink, Jane. Sue has rain and blowing a gale in Somerset. Lovely. Lovely. Yeah, I don't know what to do about the pixelation. Hey ho, not a lot I can do about that at the minute. Good morning, Debbie. I'm going to do Ask a Witch again this morning. I have some questions that I've picked up from what various people have asked me over social media. But if you've got any questions about witchcraft or any questions you'd like to ask me, pop them in the comments and we'll see what we come up with. As always, throw in your own insights and your own thoughts and we'll take it from there. See how we go. I'm just checking that it's on the right tuner. Yes, it is. We are on 720p, so that's not that yet. It's the internet or it's Facebook. Hey ho. We'll go with it. We'll go with it. So the first question this morning was about wands. I don't know if any of you use wands. Some do, some don't. I have several. A couple that I bought myself, one I made myself, a couple that have been gifted to me, and they're all different woods. And the question asked was, do wands made from different woods have different properties? Which is interesting. And yes is the answer, because all of the trees, like all of the plants and all the herbs, all have their own magical properties. Then depending on what wood your wand is made from, will affect the properties of it. I know some people that like to use wands that have different wands for different spell workings. So they might have an applewood wand for love spells. They might have a hawthorn for protection, or fairy work. Different woods all have different properties, and they will behave in different ways because obviously they've got different energies to them. So yes, different wands made from different woods will have different properties, and I think it's about trusting your intuition and going to work with the one that you are drawn to work with. Questions. Teresa, glad you're talking about wands. I'm so curious. Yeah, I think that's it. I do have several. I do find that some of the longer ones I find quite unwieldy. Wands are meant to be an extension of yourself, so they're meant to channel the energy better for you, more focused. I don't get on with them, I must admit. I find them a bit unwieldy, particularly the longer ones. But if they work for you, then absolutely go for it. It does channel the energy more, it does focus the energy, and with the different woods, it will give you the different properties as well for your magic. I think it's a case of trying it out and working out what works best for you, really. Personal choice, but yes, or each different wand will have different properties. Maria would like to know where all the correspondences came from originally. Okay, yeah, interesting question. Herbs and plants and things, most of them are from folklore and from the doctrine of signatures. think that's the right way around. Plants were assigned their medical properties by the way that they looked or the names that they were called. So the plant lungwort was said to be good for the lungs because the leaves looked like lungs. And that's pretty much how it all started. Every single plant looked like something or sounded like something, and then they would associate the medical properties with it. Obviously, they weren't always right, because just because a plant looks like something doesn't mean it's not going to kill you and doesn't mean it's going to cure you. But that's really where it all started, was from how it looked, of the names that it was given. And then that would be associated with the medical. And webcam's cutting out. I'm swapping back to the other one. Let's swap back to the other one. There we go. Let's try that one. The other one froze, so I might do this all morning. So yeah, that's where the correspondences came from, and it's kind of grown from there, really. But yeah, a lot of it is folklore as well that's added to it. Kay says, how many levels of degrees are there in a fully qualified witch, if that's the right phrase?
Better picture.
There's a better picture, is it? Okay, we'll stick with this one for a while. Okay, so the degrees in witchcraft are generally Wiccan, and there are 3 of them. It usually takes a year and a day for your first level, year and a day for your second level, and probably a couple of years for your third level. So I would say the minimum of 4 years, but you don't have to do the degrees. Once you've completed all of those 3, then you can do High Priestess training as well if you want to. My husband's now singing 3 degrees, aren't you? Yeah. Any particular 3 degree song?
When will I see you again?
When will I see you again? Okay. It is generally a Wiccan thing. In the traditional Wiccan pathways, they have the 3 degrees. We work with it within the Kitchen Witch online school. We have 3 degrees as well: level 1, level 2, level 3. Oak, Ash, Hawthorn we have, and then there's extra High Priestess training. You don't have to do the degrees. If you want to become a High Priestess, I recommend it, because the degrees give you all of the basics right through to the more in-depth training. But yeah, I would say a minimum of 4 years to work through them. But you know, there's all sorts of other ways of learning as well. It's not to say that it's right or wrong. Pictures. I think it's the internet today. There's not much I can do about that. We'll just plow on through. So yes, 3 levels, Kay, and I would say minimum of 4 years. Sue, are there any other people out there struggling to study and keep on their path? I'm guessing the answer to that is yes, from quite a lot of people, Sue. I think we all have hiccups. We all have times in our life when other stuff gets thrown at us and other things come in and we struggle. I think that is the same for everybody. I have it too. Even nearly 30 years into it, I still struggle, because I'm always studying. Even though I have learned a lot and done a lot, I still learn. I'm still studying new things. Yes, we do all have it, and I think you have to learn to go with the flow, really, and really work out what can bring you back into your pathway. Little baby steps, I would say. When you realise that you've lost that connection, little baby steps. I usually, first thing I do when I realise it is clear my altar, clear my altar, cleanse it all and reset it. And that kind of gives me a kickstart back into it. I think the main important thing though is to not stress about it. Life gets in the way sometimes, it really does. You just have to go with the flow. Sue was given a yew wand when she was initiated. I use it for everything. I have a yew wand made from the root of a yew tree, and it's probably the only one I really do use on occasion. It's got such a fantastic energy to it. Love it. Good morning, Barbara. Yep, Jane says she's struggling harder than ever during the plague. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes. Diane, fluctuates. Doing okay at the minute, but I have had really fallow times. Yeah, we all do. We all go up and down with it. Christine, have a wand made with hawthorn. Put some magnetite inside it to draw things in, and crystal for healing use, and also wrapped in copper coil. Fabulous, fabulous. Nettie says, yes, so much to do, so little time. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Helen likes wands because they come from trees, so it's lovely to feel the energy. Has 2, but rarely use them. They are displayed on my altars and lend their energies in that way. Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea for them to, if you don't want to use them, and I do often place them on my altar because yes, you get the energy from that. Oh, picture's better now, is it? Oh, let's hope so. Who knows? No, it's we'll run with it. We'll run with it. Good morning, Xenia. Likes my Christmas jumper. Thank you. It jingles. Maria says I look normal. That's rude. What an insult. Who wants to look normal? I think I'm playing catch up with the comments. Maria is 3 years on the first level. It took me 8 years to do my 3-degree training. I did have a baby in the middle, which was a little bit of a hiccup, but it took me 8 years. I think it will take you the amount of time that it needs to take. And it's not a race. It really isn't a race. I do find some people saying, oh, I haven't done that yet, and I'm so far behind, and I want to catch up, and I want to do that. It's not a race. Enjoy the journey. Believe me, as someone that actually deals with homework from students, the mentor will know if you've rushed it. And the only person that you're cheating if you do rush it or skip bits is yourself. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process of learning. We're all learning and studying always, and it's fun. Make the most of it. Nettie has a beautiful copper and crystal wand for years, but never used it. Copper's actually really good on wands because it conducts the energy. Copper is a conductive metal. Christine, 66 years of training. Yeah, you never stop learning though, do you? You never stop learning. Helen whizzed through the first level 1 year, then took 5 years on the second level. But you have just completed the second level, Helen, haven't you? Congratulations on that. Sue made a wand, copper tube filled with amethyst, topped with amethyst, and wrapped in natural green garden wire. Oh, I bet that is incredibly powerful, Sue. That sounds fantastic. James says, the main problem for me this year has been not being able to interact with people for real. It feels so much more important now. Yes, it has been a struggle, hasn't it? It has been very difficult to not interact with people on a face-to-face basis. Kay says, I've heard that saints in churches are inspired, shall we say, by the pagan gods and goddesses. Big subject to deal with that one, Kay. If you bear in mind that paganism was, as a religion, was around long before Christianity. And when Christianity came in, they built a lot of churches on pagan sites. I think the idea was that they thought if they built a house of worship on the place where pagans worship, that they would just keep coming anyway and, not realize it was now Christian. So yes, I mean, Bridget's got to be the most obvious one. She was a pagan goddess and then converted to a saint. I think there's lots and lots of crossovers in it, yes, where they converted, shall we say, the pagan deities into saints. So yes. You'll also, if you visit an old church, you'll often find that it has carvings and things of the Green Man or the Shinalagig or pagan symbols, because they did tried to pull the wool over our eyes basically by building churches on the pagan sites. So yes, there are. It's fascinating to read about. It's a big subject, Kay, but if you're interested, I'd start with Bridget because she's probably the most well-known one. So who needs a kickstart? A number 8 boot up the backside. I've got about a 6.5 to a 7 boot, if that will do, Sue. Well, for the moment, I would say enjoy the energy of December, make the most of the festivities, and start afresh in January. Lizzie, I often wonder if a person who has spent most of their life working, would they still have to go through the 4 years? I think it depends with witchcraft, Lizzie. I studied originally on my own because there was no internet when I first started. And there weren't any local training groups. So I started myself learning from books for several years. So I had the basics sorted. And I think if you're doing it on a daily basis, and that's, lots of people do. For me, I wanted the structure of learning. For me, I wanted everything laid out in a process that I could work through. I needed that structure to keep me focused and to keep me learning. And of course, you can pick up books here and there and you learn lots of stuff. And if you're with a group, then even better, because if you're out there doing it, then brilliant, you are learning stuff. But yeah, it's personal choice. It is personal choice. But I wanted the structure, and I took the lessons that I was given, and I expanded on them. So I took the subject of the lesson and then I investigated more myself. But learning via the degrees gave me that structure to branch out from, if you like. So it depends what you want, Lizzie. We do have students at the online school that are new to it all, and they follow it all through from the basics upwards. But we do also have more experienced people that come in for refreshers to restart their learning process, or their kickstart them back into their journey. But we also have more experienced people that come to us because they want that structure. And it may be that they've learned on their own and they've learned stuff, but there are some subjects that they've never come across, and the structure of that learning gives them that. And also being part of a coven gives you the support of everybody else as well. So it really is personal choice. Good morning, Isilda. Kay has 2 wands from Hazel and Cedar. Nice. Diane's telling me off. Stop worrying about the picture, it'll do. Yep, let's forget that, Diane. I've been told. I consider myself told off. Good morning, Kelly. Xenia made a wand ages ago with an amethyst tip, but never used it. Then bought an aspen wand with an Ogham sign in Glastonbury at the Cat and Cauldron. Good old Morgan Bucket. No longer there, sadly, but they are still online. Last year, and now I use this one mostly for casting the circle, calling the quarters. Nice. They wanted to come with me and complained when I put it back. They do that. It's a plain wand with no crystal and no deco, only the wood-burned Ogham sign. Do you know, sometimes simple is better. I am definitely of that, a stick works just as well. Eva has been practicing off and on for over 25 years, but I'm doing the classes. There are always things you can learn at every level, filling in the gaps and all. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, Eva. Yes, that's perfect. It does fill in the gaps, doesn't it? Because on your own, there are subjects you might not, pick up on. Diane says likewise. Cool. Okay, absolutely. Life is a journey, and we should never miss those lessons to try and get to the destination. So it happens. We've probably all been a bit guilty of that in the past, wanting to learn everything all at once. Patience is not one of my virtues. My husband's glaring at me. Leslie, I'm not a good studier. I just go at my own pace and try not to beat myself up about it. That makes you a good studier, Leslie. Don't do yourself an injustice. If you go at your own pace and don't beat yourself up about the pace that you're going, then you're good. It's all good. We all learn at different paces. We all learn at different levels. There will always be different areas of the craft that we connect with, and others that we don't. Some will resonate with, some we won't. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, work at your own pace. Absolutely. That makes you a good studier, Leslie. Jane says, St. Francis of Assisi is probably the most pagan Catholic I can think of. Definitely. And of course, the saints were taken on and into a lot of the Santeria type religions. Within sort of hoodoo, they took the Roman Catholic saints and put their own, I won't say deities because they're not deities, they're spirits really. They assigned them to the saints so that it looked like they were worshipping the saints when actually they weren't. They were worshipping their own spirits. Susie's not going to ask about shadow work. You can ask me about shadow work anytime you like, Susie. Just don't do it on your own. You need someone to support you. Christine, I had a woman argue with me that the Green Man was Christian. Oh, well, I've not heard that one before. I asked her about the Sheelana gig and she said I was disgusting. If you've ever seen the image or if you haven't seen the image of the Sheelana gig, do have a look. She looks incredibly uncomfortable, but she is a very, very ancient but feminine spirit of paganism, definitely. Oh yeah, the Green Man's definitely pre-Christian. Sue's local church has a Green Man and the biggest clear crystal point I've ever seen. Brilliant. We did with the Dorset Grove. We did a ritual in a church hall once, which was quite interesting. Very open-minded vicar there. That was fun. Kay finds it all fascinating to learn the proper history of things. Oh, definitely. A history is fascinating. Hated it at school. Wish I'd studied harder at school because I find history fascinating now, definitely. Xenia, I read that foliage heads were even found at the ancient Romans, aren't they? I'm not sure I understand that question, but yes, the Green Man and any kind of, if you look in a lot of the old churches, they do have a lot of greenery and foliage carved into parts of the church as well. Julia, same here, need lessons. Yeah, I like structure. I do like structure. I prefer structure to learn from. It works for me. Might not work for others. Nettie says, nice to have structure and support. Yeah, I think the support is good too. If you're struggling, then you need someone to ask. Kay, is there any meaning to a wand being straight but over time curves up? I would suspect that there is a very, very boring meaning to that, Kay. It means that it wasn't cured properly before it was made into a wand. I know, it's not magical at all, is it? Sometimes there aren't magical meanings to things. I would say that it wasn't dried properly before it was made into a wand, or it's been kept near a radiator or something like that. Sorry, as I know that's a boring answer. Helen, totally agree, that's what I'm doing. I like the structure. Yep, you and me both, Helen. Michelle, he truly had a love for all things natural. I think you're referring to Francis of Assisi then. Yes, definitely. Melanie doesn't have any patience either. No, you and me both. Sue, this just sprang into my mind. I would love to put on my altar, along with my god and goddess, a Buddha, Green Man, and a menorah. Do you think our Jewish friends would be insulted? I think you have to trust your intuition and be guided by where you're led, Sue. If that's what you want to put on there, then I would go for it. I have seen mixed up, if you like, for want of a better phrase, altars. I have a Buddha in my fireplace. You know, I think you have to be guided by where you're led, and they are, after all spiritual things. And I think all spirituality comes from the same starting point anyway. So I would say trust your intuition and go for it. Xenia says, hoodoo is really fascinating. It is an area of magic that I do work with, Xenia, because it mirrors a huge amount of European folk magic. And I work with that a lot. I think you will find that if you work with folk magic, that there's an awful lot that crosses over with hoodoo. A lot of hoodoo was influenced by European folk magic, according to my research. But there are so many similarities. Debbie's wand was made by my sister, who is an elder witch for me. Beautiful, beautiful. Kay says, people have the choice to be offended or not. Yeah, definitely. You know, you can't please everybody all the time. Really, you can't. Nettie has a Buddha on hers. Yoga's a big part of life and practice, so it seems appropriate. Yeah, it's a spiritual figure. It brings spirituality with it, so I don't see any problem about that at all. Kay says, so wait, that means paganism is over 2,000 years old. Yeah, that and some, Kay. Good morning, Debbie. You don't have to apologise for being late. Kay says, that's fine, the curved wand, because any logical answer is good. Yeah, there are a lot of logical answers to things. Karen has a Buddha on her altar as well, a laughing one. Perfect. Sue's going to get a coffee. I'll have a caramel latte while you're there, Sue. Thanks. Slice of cake would be nice too while you're at it. Eve has a Buddha, Pan, Morrigan on her altar and a green man and pentacle hung above. They're all happy. Yeah, I think I have mix and match all the time. I mix pantheons. You'll know if they don't want to be on there, but most of them are quite happy to sit with each other. Kelly practices Kundalini Yoga, very spiritual, absolutely, and has a Ganesha on my altar around my house. Well, I think actually this here, sparkly gold thing here, is my Ganesha, and I work with him an awful lot, and he sits right next to all the Kalat stuff, so you know. Kay, maybe blended religion altars are an expression being more inclusive. Absolutely. I wrote a blog on the Pagan Beneath the Moon blog of mine called Mix and Match Deities, if you want to have a look. It is all about mixing and matching pantheons, and I've never had a problem with it. I've listened to the deities that have wanted to come to me, and I've worked with them. At one point I was working with Ganesha for several years, and the Kalak she wasn't overly impressed, but she tolerated him. But I think you have got to trust your own intuition and where it takes you. Jane says some Christian hymns and carols are totally pagan. Absolutely. The Sans Day carol is a good example if you pick it apart. Sans Day literally means without God. Sans Day, definitely. Sans is without. Or outside of God, and is described as being Saint Day, a Breton saint who isn't listed among Breton saints. It was written by a pagan with tongue firm in cheek. Well, I think about a lot of the carols, actually. A lot of them have pagan lines to them or themes to them. Myself, I absolutely love all the Christmas carols. Absolutely love it. Christine says, on my journey through life, I've found that a lot of spiritual beliefs are all basically similar. Yeah, it's personal to how you feel about it. For me, I think in the beginning, I just did uncomfortably, then I'll begin. In the beginning, I believe there was one spirit, one entity, one spirit. It was male, it was female, it was neither, it was both. And it spread across the globe. And as each culture discovered worshipping the sky to make the sun come up every morning, honouring the land so that the plants grew, ancient man relied on nature basically to keep him alive. So I think as each culture began to worship, they just interpreted it in their own way. Which is why Hindu deities wear Hindu clothes, Roman deities wear togas. You know, each culture interpreted that spirit or that spirituality in their own way and made it look like their own culture. We are human. We like to put human faces and human bodies on our deities. Who's to say that the deities actually look like that? But I think it all stemmed from that one beginning point. And as it spread out across the world, each culture interpreted it in their own way. But essentially, it's all one and the same. That's just my kind of view. I see it, deity, as a diamond, big old diamond. The one big old diamond, and all the different facets are different faces of each individual deity. So they're all individual facets, but they are all part of the one. You might think completely different. It's entirely up to you. But that's how I see it anyway. Nettie, cake for breakfast. Nettie, if you haven't had cake for breakfast, you haven't lived. Willow Moon, hello. Reindeer Mad, find they tick all my boxes, represent connections to ancestors and the pathways of my craft. They are fascinating creatures, absolutely fascinating creatures. Julia loves Hindu gods, very happy on my altar too. Yep, I worked with a couple of them. I've got a picture of Lakshmi actually on my desk in front of me, but I do work with Ganesha an awful lot. Susie's off to work. Ooh, boo. Have a good day, Susie. Kay, even with Adam and Eve aspect, there were only a few beings on Earth, which follows your theory. Well, bear in mind that Eve wasn't the first wife of Adam. Lilith was there first, but she didn't behave, so she got kicked out. and she's a pagan deity. And every bloomin' picture of Adam and Eve, they have belly buttons. What's that all about? If they're the first beings, they wouldn't have belly buttons. But there you go. If that is of interest to you, Kay, I would definitely look up Lilith, because she has that connection to them. Karen, exactly what you think. Good. It's not. It's just, it's one version. You're all entitled to believe whatever you want to believe. If you think we're descended from aliens, it's absolutely your right to believe it. We're all, freedom of choice. Jane says, the line in Son's Day Carol about the first tree in the greenwood was the holly perfectly describes the premier tree being the holly at this time of the year because he's vanquished by the oak. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the Holly King and the Oak King story. If you're not familiar with that, do look it up. It is very, very relevant at the winter solstice. Big old fight. With a predicted outcome, really, but it reenacted at quite a lot of winter solstice and then summer solstice rituals. We did one at the Dorset Grove once with rubber chickens, which was quite interesting. The Holly King and the Oak King fighting with rubber chickens. Yeah, there you go. Xenia can relate very much to that. One big spirit, a great spirit that spread across the globe and every culture interpreted in their way. It's like we have different languages. Yeah, well, that's how I see it. Works for me. Eve is off to the cemetery to feed the birds, leaving something for hubby and get some more graveyard dirt. Go for it. Have a nice day, Eve. Xenia, I already saw it as a diamond 2 and explained it like that. Cool. On the same page. Sue is getting lots of pushes towards ravens. You were making resin raven skulls, weren't you, this week, which are fantastic. Lizzie, Lilith was created equally with Adam. Once Lilith was booted out for not being a good girl, Eve was made from the rib of Adam. I'm guessing because she would be more submissive to her source. That's the story. Lilith wouldn't behave, so she was thrown out. Interesting story too. And apparently it wasn't an apple in that story either. It was more likely to have been a peach, apparently. But there you go. Kay, it's all fascinating, worth listening to know what's out there and formulate what feels right for you. You can always get spiritual confirmation anyways, if in doubt. Absolutely. Jane likes the idea of a rubber chicken fest. Yeah, fun. Oh, Sue had to give the cat her medicine. Oh, that was a battle and a half then, I'm sure. Actually, speaking of cats, seamlessly into another question that was asked. This was on one of the social media groups. Constantly finding cat whiskers and shed claws around the flat. Was wondering if they can be used in spell work. Yes, is the answer. Absolutely. Particularly if you want to work protection spells for your pets. Cats, I know, do like to wander off and go on their travels. So if you want to work a protection spell, then some of the cat whiskers or even the cat or dog hairs, claws, brilliant to use in any kind of magic. You could also use the cat or the dog whiskers or hair or claws in any spell work, utilizing their particular energies of those animals. Dog loyalty is the obvious one. So if you're working a loyalty spell, then some dog hairs would work brilliantly in it. So yes, absolutely. If you've got anything that like that from your pets, you can use it in spell work. Birds as well. If you've got pet birds, you can use the feathers as well. Every animal has its own magical properties, so you can use that to work with. But if you wanted to work it as a protection spell for your pet, then that would be perfect, absolutely perfect. Kay never thought of the belly button aspect before. Food for thought, yes. Why have Adam and Eve always got belly buttons in the paintings? Because they wouldn't have been born with belly buttons. One of those random things that I read somewhere, Maria puts cat hairs in her daughter's witch jar as she's very close to Milo the cat. Yes, perfect. Barbara has a little jar of cat whiskers saved. In any other conversation, in any other place on the planet, people would think we were completely loony. Yes, I've got a jar of cat whiskers. Sandra left a whisker on my pillow yesterday, and I'm assuming Sandra is the cat. That is an absolutely brilliant name for a cat. Lizzie, a peach. I always thought it might be a pomegranate rather than an apple. I read it somewhere, Lizzie, that it wouldn't have been an apple because that just doesn't tally with the time period and the area. And but yeah, pomegranate would work too. I did read it somewhere that it might have been a peach. I can't remember where, but who knows, you know. Catherine, yes, black cat oil has an ingredient of black cat's fur. That's a bit of hoodoo if you want to look up black cat oil. We use bits of cat hair in it. Perfect. Yes, so yes, very, very good. Actually, we also had an interesting question, Kay. A lot of Christian beliefs use that submissive theory, but I did hear another one, not about submission. Can't remember how it was. Yeah, it's an interesting, if you're interested, the Adam and Eve and Lilith story is quite interesting to read about. Jane, if it was a peach, it's no wonder Eve couldn't resist it. Yeah. Peach, apple, definitely give me. Well, actually, let's face it. Yeah, chocolate cookie probably would have been more suitable. But there you go. Sue, I think any cat owner has a jar of cat whiskers from all their furry friends that have gone to Rainbow Bridge. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Lizzie, put my cat fur after brushing in the compost, and then I grow veg in the compost. I guess I might be eating cat fur from time to time. Yeah, not that palatable. Another question that we were asked recently, which is quite an interesting one, is the person said, I'm struggling with validity at the moment. No matter how many books I read or ingredients and items I buy or come across in nature, I still don't feel like a bona fide witch. I feel a bit like an imposter. And it's actually a really interesting question because I've been there. When I first started this journey, bear in mind there was no internet. I was just working from books. There was no one I knew locally. So I was on my own completely. So I'm reading these books and thinking, am I a witch? Am I allowed to call myself a witch now? I actually felt really uncomfortable calling myself the W word for probably a few years, to be honest. But we like labels, don't we? So do we need a label? No, it's just a pathway that we follow. But yes, I absolutely understand that, particularly when you're starting, it's very difficult to actually get to that point and say, yep, that's it. I'm doing what I should be doing. I'm working with this and working with that. I believe this, I believe that. I'm a witch. Yep. Give me a badge or a funny hat. I think we all go through it. We all go through it. But bear in mind, it is all about belief and faith. And I think part of the journey is reaching that point. But we all do go through it. But there will come a point where you think, actually, I'm doing this, I'm living this. It's all part of my journey. It's part of my pathway. And I'm doing it. You'll always have a wobble every now and again. We all do. We all lose our connection every now and again. We all have those moments where we think, was that deity just speaking to me, or am I talking to myself? We all do it. I think it is about getting out there and doing it, to be honest. You can read as many books as you like. Mine, obviously. You can read as many books as you like and not actually do anything. You can be what I call a book witch. You'll have a bit of knowledge, but until you actually start working with it, till you actually start practicing it on a regular basis, it won't actually, I don't think, make an awful lot of sense. I found myself that once I started actually getting out there and doing it, from the point of my very first ritual, standing in my dining room feeling like a complete and utter wally, waving my wand round, wondering what on earth I was doing, to the point where I was outside connecting with nature and working with the energy of nature. It might take some time, but practicing it, doing it, is what I think will actually make you validated, if you want to use that word. But trust that we've all been there. Just scrolling back up to the other. Diane says chocolate cookies don't grow on trees. It's a shame, isn't it, Diane? Chocolate cocoa beans, though, could have worked with those, couldn't we? Kay says don't cough any fur balls. Yeah, no, you don't want to be eating cat fur, particularly straight off like that. Pomegranates are associated with Persephone, Maria. Indeed, they are. Where does Pandora fit into all this? As I was told, she was the first woman on Earth. I've also heard about Lilith and Eve. I don't know much about Pandora, Debbie. You'd have to look that up. But the story that I understand is that Lilith was around before Eve. She was Adam's first partner. You'll have to look up Pandora. I don't know anything about her. See, even this many years into it, and I don't know everything. There you go. Don't tell my husband that now. There's always more to learn. Sue says, Druid or witch is just a label. You are what you are inside, and that's all that matters. Yeah, I think we are quite quick to want to put people into little boxes, aren't we? You're a witch, you're a druid, you're a this, you're a that. Yeah. Just be spiritual. Julia, what a great question. Part of the reason I have joined being a solitary can make you feel a bit like that. I think it can. I think if you join, the whole premise of the Kitchen Witch Coven is that we are all solitaries, but we have the support network to lean on if we need or want to. So particularly the Kitchen Witch Facebook group, it's there to ask questions if you want to. It's there to draw on support if you want to. I think we all kind of work as solitaries as such, but it's having that support there to be able to ask questions and feel that you aren't alone. Christine, when I first decided I was a witch, I did my own rite with a gold ribbon with all my pledges, and I still have that ribbon. It's faded, but my pledge always holds through my life. Perfect. I did do a self-initiation when I first decided that I could use the W word. It's a nice idea. Catherine says, oh yes, sorry, Maria asked what black cat oil was used for. It is protection, breaking curses, and a lot of other stuff. Be very careful, because the original black cat oil had cat bones in it, not always procured legally or nicely, so adding the fur instead is a very good alternative. Teresa, I had trouble saying I'm a witch as well. I made an affirmation card and put it on my altar. Would say it every day and work with my sacral chakra. Perfect. Jane, believe every woman is a witch by nature till she either realizes and accepts it or decides not to be one. Interesting theory. Christine, tied knots in the ribbon for each pledge I made. Probably my first witch's ladder. Nice. Yeah, I think it is self-initiation or self-pledge is a very good way to go. Lizzie, apparently the Latin word for apple also means evil, so that could be the misinterpretation. Yeah, apples get a bit of a bad rap, don't they? Same as the old snake. Maria, some of my cousins wouldn't agree and can be quite passive-aggressive with their responses to that. Sue, I never once felt a wally a ritual. That was the point. I became free. Yeah, I think when I was doing my first rituals at home and it was just me standing in my living room, not really knowing what I was doing or supposed to be doing, I did feel a bit of an idiot. But I think I learned more from making it out to those first group rituals, where I was outside in nature and being a part of it. That, for me, was the turning point, I think. Leslie, always known deep down I was a witch, but being raised and surrounded by Christian beliefs, I found it very hard to completely surrender to my witch path. Do you know there's an awful lot of us that have come from Christian backgrounds? My family's not particularly religious, but I spent 6 years of my teenage years in Girls Brigade, which is very, very much connected with the Baptist Church. I went to church every Sunday. I did Bible studies. I was very, very dedicated. I knew I had a faith in something. I knew I had a belief in something. And it was very strong. The only thing is, I couldn't deal with the idea of the devil. I couldn't deal with the idea that there was some real evil entity. And everyone I spoke to couldn't really give me an explanation or an answer to it. And for me, that was quite a sticking point. But I knew I had a faith. And I think that was probably the building blocks for me finding paganism. It gave me that initial belief. And I was able to kind of smoothly move over because I had that faith and that belief that there was something. But bear in mind as well, you can work with witchcraft and be Christian. You can work with witchcraft and be any religion that you like. Witchcraft is the practice. It's paganism, that is the religion. Although, to be honest, when I call myself a witch, I am encompassing it all. And for me, that does encompass all of the beliefs as well. But yes, you can absolutely work. I know Christo-pagans that work with Mary and Jesus as deities, making it work for you, really. Kay says, when you think about the old herbal and apothecary attributes and Native Americans with the animals and land and Egyptians with essential oils, we have a rich history, and I believe we need all this in our lives, whatever label you have. Every single culture has its history like that. Every single culture has that folk magic, that living with nature, living with the animals, working with the land. Every culture has it, and it is fascinating, and it would be such a shame to lose it. And I think we have lost quite a bit of it already. I think we need to keep those traditions and those culture and that history alive. Debbie, can anyone join the Kitchen Witch Facebook group, or do you have to be a student? No, the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group is open to everyone and anyone, Debbie. A couple of questions you have to answer to get into the group, but just about agreeing to the rules, really. But no, Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group is open to everyone. It's a fantastic group of people. We are so lucky to have such a nice group of people there. Everyone is always willing to answer questions and help and support each other. It is fab. So yes, open to everyone. We do have a private student-only group, but yes, the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group is open to everyone. Kay, the comment about knots made me remember a past life experience of Atlantis where I had a cord belt with 9 knots, which apparently is an elders or priestess level. It's high priestess level with 9 knots in the belt. But yeah, that is quite Wiccan. But Atlantis is a whole other fascinating subject to look into. When I passed my second degree, I think I had to make a belt with lots of knots in it. It was a while ago, I can't remember. I do remember making it. Sue, Mrs. Rituals, hugging in Knowlton. Knowlton is a beautiful spot for rituals, definitely. Leslie, being part of this online group and rituals really helped. And yes, I can't deal with the devil and most of the Bible stories, to be honest. But remember that a lot of the Bible stories were written by the Romans. So, you know, they organized the Bible, really. And then old King James changed bits of it as well. So, yeah, it's been affected by people that have translated it and wrote it down, basically. Sue says, the only evil entity I cannot stand is when the money falls out of a parking meter and that's all the change you have. Yeah, there's a few of those. I don't think that's evil entities. That's the little gnomes inside it. But Melanie, my parents sent me and my sister to church so they could have a lie-in. Yeah, my parents sent me to Sunday school when I was very small, just so that, yeah, they could have a bit of peace and quiet on a Sunday morning. Leslie, the church pastor didn't like me, so I asked too many questions. Yeah, I was one of those, Leslie. Xenia, I can relate. Had it also at work with a former boss and a Wiccan-inspired study group. That's the environments to leave. I think with any group, you have to feel comfortable. There are lots of fantastic groups and covens and study groups around. Go by recommendation, and if there's anything uncomfortable, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable about the group, walk away. You have to feel comfortable in any group of people. Christine, as a kid, we were forced to go and cause chaos at the Sunday school. I think it's just something we did as kids. We were just sent to Sunday school. When I was older, I found we were forced to go to give parents some private time. Yes, yes. There seems to be a reoccurring theme. Mum always vowed she was Christian, tongue-in-cheek, but when she was dying, she asked not to be in a graveyard, but she wanted to go into the woods and be scattered. Ashes in the place she ran naked in during her youth. We visit her and sprinkle rose petals and through the woods. Yeah, I don't want a funeral either, Christine. I've already put that in my will. I'm not having a funeral. Well, blooming expensive for a start. Yes, actually, naked does bring up something else. If you join any group and they insist that you have to be naked to do rituals, you do not. You really, really don't. I think there was something back in the 60s and 70s, really. There are a few groups that still do it, but you do not have to be naked to allow the energy to flow or to be in ritual. No. If you feel uncomfortable with anything that any group wants you to do, walk away. Walk away. It's your choice. Xenia says, also in New Age groups, too many questions aren't appreciated at all. Been there, left that. I think it is about finding the right group for you. There are lots of groups out there. And in fact, if you want to ask lots of questions, join the Kitchen Witch Coven, because we love lots of questions. Teresa was a kid that asked too many questions. Children do, though, don't they? They have a completely different perspective on the world. It's lovely. Okay, at least the Mormons are honest and say in one of their articles of faith that we believe in the scriptures, that so long as they have been translated correctly. I found this a lot with things. Some of the translations are just really squiffy. So yes, definitely. Maria used to go to Sunday school and Band of Hope. It was literally 2 minutes up the road. Mission is still there, but some residents now. Yeah, we all got sent to Sunday school, didn't we? Diane, I read once there's no magic in goosebumps, and I wholeheartedly agree with this. Or it's a scientific reaction, isn't it? It's your body reacting to the temperature or all sorts of things. But, you know, you have to go with what works for you, really. Christine says, nakedness in covens meant to me you join afresh, leave past life behind. I think there are lots of reasons for nakedness in covens, but it makes me incredibly uncomfortable. I think being naked in a group of people that you don't know is uncomfortable for me, and I would feel uncomfortable the whole time. I think if you are working on your own, then it's an interesting way of working a ritual or working magic. If you haven't tried it, give it a try, see if it works for you. It's not for me, but you know, it's entirely up to you. You have to feel comfortable. Melanie was so shy as a kid, I wanted to ask. Now this is why I always say to people, ask questions, because there might be someone in the group that you're in that's too worried to ask the question in case they feel silly. But once you've asked it, there'll be a lot of people that go, oh good, I wanted to hear that. So yeah, ask as many questions as you want. Nettie, too many questions here too. It didn't go down well in Catholic school. I think everyone should be open to believe whatever they want to believe in, whether it is Christian, Roman Catholic, Pagan, Muslim, whether you want to follow the pathway of a Jedi. It's entirely up to you. If it works for you, go for it. I don't think anyone should be judging other people for what your beliefs are. I think it's very personal, and you should be able to do exactly what you want to do. Maria says it's a bit cold though on the nuptials to do it naked in the cold. Yeah, I think rituals in the UK naked is far too chilly for that sort of thing. Kay, I find when I hear truth spiritually, I do get the chills on my skin, like being under a shower. So I say I love a bit of truth on a hot day, but not so much on a cold day. Jane, in my convent school, a certain nun's answer to any awkward question was, "It's a mystery." Yeah, I've had that kind of answer. Yes, you know, it's all, there is no answer to some of them, is it? Sue says, "Oh no, not naked. If I started to dance, I would knock someone out with all my wobbly spare parts." Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Sue. Kay says, "I've always said the only stupid question is the one you don't ask." Yeah, absolutely. There are no stupid questions. If you don't know the answer, then it's not a stupid question. And everybody learns from it. I learn so much from my students. It's fantastic. It's definitely a two-way street. There are some times when I think, oh, I never thought about it like that. So yeah, we're all still learning from each other, and no one ever knows everything. You couldn't possibly. You know, like today, I know about Pandora and Pandora's box and all the things inside it, but you know, that's something to research. You're always learning. You're always kind of finding new things to learn about. So I only covered like 2, I think, questions I had written down, but it is always a pleasure to chat with you guys. This is my last one for this year. I'm going to have a couple of weeks off. I will be starting back again Friday mornings in January. If you have any subjects you would like me to cover, if you've got any of these type of questions, I'll put together another Ask a Witch as well at some point. So message me with questions, pop them in the Kitchen Witch Facebook group. I say any subjects you want me to cover, just let me know. So I'm going to sign off in a second. I just want to thank you all so much for joining me on Friday mornings. It is the highlight of my week, genuinely the highlight of my week. It's fantastic talking to you guys. And this year, as bizarre as it has been, has meant that I have met so many new online friends. That for me has been a huge, big positive. And it has been fantastic to connect with you all. If you don't belong to the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group, do join. It's a lovely group. You know, have a fantastic as much as possible. I know it's all going to be a bit strange this year. We've just gone into tier 3 where I am, so it's all going to be a bit of a struggle. Have a fantastic Yule. Winter solstice blessings to you. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Hogswatch. Whatever it is that you believe in, have a fantastic time. And thank you. Thank you all so much for joining me. And we've got actually, if you want to do something Sunday evening, 7 p.m, in the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook group, we are holding an online Yule winter solstice ritual written by the lovely Heather. So do join us there. And that's myself and the Hearth Guardians. 7 p.m, Sunday 20th in the Kitchen Witch Coven. Other than that, that's it for me this year. I am on the end of Messenger. I am on the end of email. If anyone's got any questions, you get stuck with anything, if you want any support, shout out. Don't ever feel that you're on your own. Myself and Kitchen Witch are all here for you. So thank you so much, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the year. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a much more positive and happy 2021. And I will see you soon. Take care.